And as part of this CBS42 News investigation, I traveled there to find out why the same rare eye melanoma turned up in at least 5 people who either attended or worked at Auburn University at or around the same time. Tonight, what's been done to get answers?
You can look, but you can't see, even if you focus very closely on Lori Lee's eyes. What's going on inside them isn't visible to the naked eye.
If you wanted to talk to them for a little bit now.
It stems from something doctors suspect happened decades ago when Lori attended Auburn University back in 1985 through 89.
Strange, kind of eye-opening what in the world could have been. There is no known cause. You just, you know, I was basically told I had probably a better chance of winning the lottery than getting this because it is so rare.
These days, she travels regularly here to this NCI-designated hospital in Philadelphia for treatment of a mysterious cancer discovered in her eye. It's called uveal melanoma. It typically affects 5 to 6 people in every 1 million, about 2,000 to 3,000 people in the U.S. each year, usually men in their 60s.
This lab inside the Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at Thomas Jefferson University is where they study the rarest of the rare eye melanomas. 5 cases from the Auburn community got their attention.
I made it a habit really of asking, especially my new patients, especially my new young women patients, just casually, do you know anyone with this disease?
Oncologist Dr. Marlana Orloff started that practice after their investigation in Huntersville, North Carolina, found more than 20 women within a 15-mile radius who were diagnosed with the same rare cancer that Lori is living with.
Because it's a rare disease and you don't expect people to know someone.
But someone did in our state.
We did have someone down in Alabama who actually mentioned, oh yeah, actually 2 girls that I went to college with were also diagnosed with this rare cancer. And so really that's kind of what started our suspicion or investigation into potentially what could be happening.
And
if it's truly that most of these patients in Alabama were located extremely close in time and space, that makes things kind of a tighter group. North Carolina, you know, the patients did not necessarily live on the, you know, same block. Depending on the type of testing that would need to be done, sometimes you can find traces of this or that. From what we're hearing from some people in Alabama is that certainly the patients that may have been affected were living very, very close together over a very short period of time.
This is very strange. We have couple start looking around, you know, keep asking the same question, where do you live?
Dr. Takami Sato is a professor of medical oncology at the Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center at TJU and a pioneer in treatments for metastatic uveal melanoma.
I found 2 male patients. One of them went to the same university. Yeah. And then the other one worked on campus. At around the same time, these patients lived in the same dormitory.
One of those males is believed to be Mark McWilliams. His widow, Susan Roberts McWilliams, first informed CBS42 of the suspicious occurrence of this rare cancer in Auburn during our CBS42 Local War on Cancer special report in 2017.
So that's 5.
Yeah. So now numbers are increasing, you know. So, but this doesn't mean there is something there.
What Dr. Sato and Orloff told me it does mean is there needs to be more investigation.
We are making an effort to go down to Alabama in early February, hopefully to engage the community down there, not just the university, but the community.
Your team is going into Auburn to alert people that something.
Not a lot. Just you know, inform them. Yes,
inform them on why it would be a good idea to have regular eye exams at this point.
That's one thing. Also, if you know, people who live there can give us some hint. You know, Dr. Sato, Dr. Orloff. I think this might be one thing that you have to look into.
Lori Lee will be there.
What I would like to see happen, to be able to come up with a reason why we're all getting this and find some more of the people that could be in that group and get them the help that they need.
Until then, in between travel for treatment with her oncologist here at Sidney Kimmel,
there's some investigating to do.
This wife and mother is doing what she can and appreciating all that she can including her alma mater and her creator.
The sky may be a little bluer and a little oranger sometimes.
Until there's a cure.
Auburn University declined an on-camera interview for our story, but they did give us this statement, which reads in part, the university encourages spreading the word about uveal melanoma and all types of cancer and the need for early detection, and it welcomes the cancer researchers looking into this rare cancer. Our understanding is the scientific community has not yet established what causes it, and there is no known causal connection that would indicate any student or employee in danger. They go on to say that the university would act immediately if it knew of any unsafe condition on campus. Now, you can read their full statement on our CBS42 News app. It's there for you right now.
I love her spirit. The sky a little more orange, a little bit more blue. They don't want to panic people, but the team is coming to Alabama. Who's going to be there and what's going to be going on?
So it's everybody you saw in that story, those researchers, some of the patients in our area who have uveal melanoma. But Auburn University told me that they do plan to send a representative from their risk management to that meeting. And I talked to the city of Auburn. They too plan to send someone there to the meeting to get information so they can get an understanding about that meeting. And as for when the meeting is, it is Saturday, February 10th at the Auburn Hotel and Conference Center. It begins at 10 a.m. Now, they're going to discuss uveal melanoma, and they will compare the Auburn cases with those in Huntersville, North Carolina that you heard about in the story. You can find all of that information on our website at WIAT.com right now.
It's CBS42 News anchor Sherri Jackson live on the plains with a team of researchers from Philadelphia that she first told you about in her investigative report last week. And Sherri, they're still in town tonight, right?
Jack, they are, and it is a rainy night in Auburn. You can see the clouds, but a lot of people we met with today are hoping for a silver lining. They met in a room for 2 hours today. All of the stakeholders involved in the uveal melanoma cases that have been discovered here in Auburn, many people we talked with, especially those who are living with this disease, are hoping that they can find an answer to what's going on.
They lined up and signed up well before the 10 o'clock hour. Anxious to learn about this rare cancer diagnosis being found in more and more people with ties to Auburn University alumni. Those living with uveal melanoma,
I was diagnosed in 2005.
and families of those who've lost loved ones to it, like the McWilliams. CBS42 started this investigation in 2017 when Susan Roberts McWilliams informed us of her late husband's uveal melanoma diagnosis and other cases found in people who attended Auburn University.
Draw attention to it, see if we could get researchers interested in seeing what they could find out about any kind of connection down here.
Once inside, those curious about what's going on with this rare cancer first listen to the team of researchers from Philadelphia.
And therefore, we've come up with a little bit of an alternative strategy to
Then asked questions. Local optometrist Dr. David Olive.
My question was not knowing what, if anything, the university has done at this point. Just what type of cooperation is being had between them and the doctors from Philadelphia.
Ashley McCrary is one of the uveal melanoma patients who lives in Auburn. She attended the university from 1989 to 93. So you mentioned that you have talked to the university.
Yes, they have been wonderful. I've actually reached out to them 3 different times, and each time I've gotten immediate response within the same day or even within the hour. I was told that they developed a task force and that the risk management lady that was here is definitely heading that up.
I spoke with Dr. Christine Ike, who's the director of Auburn's Office of Risk Management and Safety.
The university reached out to the individual who posted it on Facebook and said very clearly that if there was anything that was deemed investigative in the federal or the state organizations and those got involved, we would cooperate fully. It's really not a myth, the Auburn family. We really do care, and we always do right by each other, or we try to.
That's what the people in this room are counting on. People like Susan Wunderlich, who was diagnosed with uveal melanoma a year ago.
5 or 6 people that I know of have had it, and then they know somebody. I mean, I was just hoping to find out how many people had it because it is not rare. It's
not rare here.
No, it's not rare. Everybody we know has it. No, not everybody we know, but a lot of people have it.
I was concerned about saying this today, but now I feel like people need to hear. We're up to 19 people that I have all their contact information. Then I met 3 people today that were not on that list. And then Dr. Mock was here today and said, I've been treating, what did he say, 9 people in the Lee County area.
And I think this is a community that, had concern that something was going on. It sounds like they're going to be engaged. Our hope is that, we kind of take the information that we learned today to try to move forward in a similar fashion as we've done it in North Carolina.
The team from Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center who were here today met with people privately after that meeting this morning, patients who may or may not be affected, but certainly wanted to meet with this team privately. Coming up tonight at 10 o'clock, the next piece of the puzzle, what lawmakers can do to move the investigation forward.
I've also received several emails from people who attended Auburn. Rick Nuff told me he recalled, quote, quite a bit of renovation being done on campus at that time, mid to late 80s. One of the buildings I went to class in, Biggin Hall, was under renovation and had asbestos in it. And I got this one from a series of email exchanges with Beth Bellows, who says she attended Auburn from 1980 to 1984 and now lives in Florida. She says, quote, I, along with probably every other sorority girl that lived in the Hill dorms, have always wondered about the asbestos risks. We were just too young and naive to worry or think about dangers back then, end quote. Sarah Carpenter sent me this email and some pictures from her time at Auburn in 1996 to 2000. She says, quote, I lived in Keller my freshman year, 1996 to 97. I saw info on Facebook through my sorority saying that was one of the dorms a few of the girls lived in that were diagnosed. The email goes on to say, while I was in Keller, it was in pretty bad shape. The following year, they closed Keller and completely renovated it, 97, 98. She also mentioned asbestos in her email, which she wants to share with a team of researchers who are investigating these cancer cases. Sarah concluded by saying that she's, quote, never been diagnosed with eye cancer or anyone else I know from Keller that year.
Doctors and researchers, and most importantly, the people affected by uveal melanoma, came out to this important listening session today to learn about uveal melanoma and its impact on the community here in Auburn.
I had no symptoms, none, and really still don't.
And just most recently, I've had 4 new spots to come up. I lived in Auburn from 1994 to 1998. I was diagnosed in 2005. I'm one of the lost statistics.
Voices from Auburn sharing their stories and asking questions of the researchers from the Sidney Kimmel Cancer Center.
And I just think it's just weird that I have colleagues myself, and 3 of us went to pharmacy school here, and it may be coincidence.
Are you still saying that the only thing you should be looking at is just making sure you get that that annual eye dilation?
Yes.
Because we have my whole family. We went to art school at Auburn, and yeah.
I'll say yes to that.
Vonette McWilliams, whose son Mark passed away 4 years ago from ocular melanoma, made a point of coming today to share her story.
It brings back memories, but we had fond memories with our son, so we had that to hang on to. He's missed terribly, but just hope that they can put something together or find a thread that might connect to what might be causing this disease.
And therefore, we've come up with a little bit of an alternative strategy.
For 2 hours, the group listened and gathered information. A representative from Auburn University spoke to the group for the first time.
We've never been officially contacted or had anybody reach out, so if somebody finds there was something lacking in a response from the university, as we found out about this through social media.
Bill Armistead, whose daughter has battled this disease for 16 and a half years, for him, this is personal, and he's hopeful Alabama steps up.
I certainly hope that they will do in Alabama what was done in North Carolina. A grant was made available from the legislature for this research. I know they're needing funds. I know that funds are always difficult to come by.
The group did have one message to send loud and clear for Alabamians about this very rare disease.
Very important that you get your eyes checked on an annual basis.
So many times here today, everyone needs to have a regular checkup on their eyes.
The researchers from Philadelphia tell me there is no cure for uveal melanoma, but they are working hard on research and are very hopeful that they could have a cure within 5 years. In Auburn, Sherri Jackson, CBS 42 News, local coverage you can count on.